Tonight in Des Moines, Iowa, the 6 remaining Democrat candidates face off in a debate to see who it is that gets the Democrat nomination to lose to President Trump. And tomorrow, Nancy Pelosi is going to send the articles of impeachment over to the Senate, where we can place bets on how fast the case will be dismissed. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Well, Nancy Pelosi evidently got the memo that it's time to send the articles of impeachment over to the Senate. This brouhaha has been going on long enough. Tomorrow there's going to be a vote, and the vote will basically decide 3 things. One is, yes, we will now formally send the articles of impeachment over to the Senate, and that'll probably happen sometime tomorrow. The second thing is that it's going to fund the trial. They have to actually vote to fund it. But the third thing is that it will decide who the case managers will be. Who will be the lead attorneys against President Trump? And what we're talking about right now, or at least what Nancy's talking about, is Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler, the 2 buffoons who brought the scam process through the House of Representatives. Please, I beg your pardon, I don't mean to be partisan, I don't mean to be unkind, and I certainly don't mean to belittle genuine buffoons in the world. These men are not true buffoons, they're malefactors. These are false witnesses. These are men who have corrupted the process, corrupted the Constitution, disregarded what the founders of this country intended was the purpose of impeachment of a president of the United States. High crimes, misdemeanors, the betrayal of the U.S. government, treason, selling out the government to a foreign power in Europe. President Trump hasn't done anything that even remotely rises to the level of impeachment, but Schiff and Nadler have both, in fact, said that they are going to proceed. And Nancy Pelosi is happy to have them be the tail that wags the dog. Now, what makes this interesting on a News Watch level is that the Democrat Party and its voters should, by all rights, be focused on the debate tonight and who it is that is going to win the nomination and face President Trump in November. Because he's not going to be removed from office. He's just not. But instead, they're giving this news cycle, once again, the opportunity to ignore what's going on in Iowa, the debate. Do you know that there have been other debates that have barely been mentioned in the press? Have you watched any of the Democrat debates? Because I have. And they're starting to feel like reruns with a smaller cast. So we're down to 6 people now. We'll talk about that in the next break. But suffice to say, the timing of Pelosi to do this, they have to know that the Democrats are having the debate tonight. They have to know that this is going to overshadow it. And what that tells me is that they recognize that the Democrat Party, the field itself, is so weak and so far left, so insanely left, socialist, new Green Deal, universal health care, forgiving all college debt, that they've gotten so crazy to the left that it's actually more beneficial to the party and to their prospects of winning in 2020 to have the public focus on impeachment and not which of these candidates is going to win in Iowa or in New Hampshire, and then ultimately maybe go on to win the nomination. So we'll see how this all plays out. Iran is out of the news. We're happy to report that. We've been following that closely on this television show. The president killed Soleimani, ordered Soleimani killed. Iran ordered missiles fired into Iraq at one of our bases. There was substantial damage done on the ground, but no lives were lost. No soldiers were even hurt. So one Iraqi official said that they had a response that was equal to what the U.S. did. And we've been sending messages through the Swiss ambassador, who acts as the go-between for the U.S. and Iran. And basically, Iran is standing down. Now, whether or not they're planning another attack remains to be seen. But in the past few days, hostilities have dropped to zero, and the U.S. has not had to fire any more missiles or kill any more bad guys. So we'll see. That could change in a second dealing with Iran. But I believe that the Iranian leaders recognize that what President Trump did is he altered U.S. foreign policy. Okay? He killed one of the highest ranking officials in Iran in a foreign country. All right? It wasn't in Iran. It wasn't over Iranian soil. It was in a foreign country. But what that says to the Iranians is everybody here is fair game, with the possible exception of the leader of Iran himself. So everyone is saying, let's just hold on for a second here. Let's not tick off the Americans while this crazy man is at the head of the U.S. military. All right, when we come back, we will talk about what's going on in Iowa tonight, namely the debate, who's in it, what are the prospects, what is the polling data showing. Don't go away. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. If you are loyal to the Democrat Party, that means that you want a Democrat to win against President Trump in 2020. He's not going to be removed from office. He's got an impeachment on his record like Bill Clinton did, but he's not going to be removed from office. So he's going to run. And a lot of polling data shows that he's going to win in the key swing states. Okay? So if you're loyal to the Democrat Party, who do you want to get the nomination? Or, said differently, who don't you want to face President Trump? Who don't you want to face him? Now, when you're thinking in the negative, who don't I want to face President Trump? You're sitting back and you're picturing commercials. You're picturing fundraising. You're picturing rally speeches. You're picturing headlines. So if I was a lover of the Democrat Party, the candidate that I would be most worried about winning the nomination would be Bernie Sanders. Because Bernie Sanders is a self-avowed socialist. And President Trump has said the U.S. will never be a socialist nation. And Bernie Sanders clearly is a socialist and wants America to be a socialist nation. There are enough decent blue-collar Roman Catholic, evangelical, Baptist, moderate Democrats in key swing states who don't want to be socialist. They might not be able to define what a socialist is. They might not be able to discuss Marxist theory of redistribution of wealth and the government's role in redistributing people's wealth, but they just know in the core of their being that being a socialist is a bad thing, that socialism is a dirty word. And having Bernie Sanders at the top of the ticket might be just the thing that causes President Trump to win. So There are Democrats right now who are doing everything in their power, quietly, behind the scenes, to ensure that Bernie Sanders does not win the nomination. Now, interestingly, here's what's going to happen in tonight's debate. Let me explain to you what you're going to be watching. It's in Iowa, and 3 weeks from tonight are the Iowa caucuses. There are 1,681 locations where people will gather to caucus, okay? They don't vote. They get together in a room, and they say who their preference is for the Democrat nominee, all right? They have little clutches, literally physical locations in the room where everyone can see everyone. So every bit of polling that we have seen in Iowa, every last bit of it, does not poll people from all 1,681. They certainly don't poll multiple people. The latest Monmouth poll had less than 500 people in the poll. So it had a margin of error of 4.9%, roughly 5%. That's a huge margin of error. So you've got to remember that in Iowa, because it's a caucus and the rules of caucuses are so different than a primary, anything can happen. Anything can happen. There have been polls in the last 60 days that showed Warren leading, Biden leading, Sanders leading, and Buttigieg leading. Pete Buttigieg has been at the top of more than one poll in Iowa. What that reflects is where the polls are being taken. Remember, 1,681 different caucus locations. So if they poll in an area where Pete Buttigieg has a great ground game, a ground game means that he's got people going door to door, knocking on doors, giving out literature, then Buttigieg is going to be in the lead. If they go to a place where Bernie has a great ground game, they're going to show Bernie in the lead. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, for those of you who intend to watch the Democrat debate tonight, let me tell you what you're going to be looking for. And for those of you who are going to skip it, let me tell you what it is that's going to happen. It's interesting. Please don't go away.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Mohammed, in his own words. All right, in the last 24 hours, a Monmouth poll has come out. Biden is at 24%. Sanders is at 18%. Buttigieg at 17%. And Elizabeth Warren at 15%. All right, let me explain to you the dynamics and the tightrope dance that the candidates are doing tonight. All right? The dynamics of the debate and the tightrope dance that they've got to do. The most important thing for them tonight is that they sway some Iowa voters. The caucus is 3 weeks out. This is the last debate before the caucus. So they're going to be playing to an Iowa crowd differently than they have been playing in the past. Now, besides those four candidates, candidate Amy Klobuchar is going to be on stage, and billionaire Tom Steyer is also going to be on stage. There's 6 candidates. Cory Booker has formally dropped out Yang is not going to be on the stage tonight. Didn't raise enough money. Julian Castro has dropped out. So now we're getting down to the brass tacks before the first 4 major primaries, okay? They are going to be playing to the voters of Iowa. That's number 1. Number 2, they're going to be trying to raise money. There is a hardcore Democrat base that will be watching the debate tonight. And many of them are going to have their device. They're going to be ready to send 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 bucks. There's going to be people watching tonight who send more than one gift. They're going to send Buttigieg a gift and Elizabeth Warren, or Bernie and Elizabeth. Most people won't do that. Most people will pick one. But they've got to raise money tonight. The next thing that they've got to do is you're going to see them tonight more than any other night. You're going to see them go after each other because they've got to win Iowa and New Hampshire. If some of the people that are on the stage are not going to be in the race after the first 4 primaries, at least a handful of them, because they're not going to be able to raise any more money. And money is the mother's milk of politics. So, number 1, they're going to be playing to Iowa voters. Number 2, they're also going to be trying to look presidential for the whole country so that they can raise money. Now, let me tell you again what I think is going to happen and why. I think that Biden, I'm jumping way ahead now, okay? I think that Biden is going to win the nomination. It's his to lose. Here's the problem. He's got Bernie and Elizabeth Warren who still are able to raise money. Now, Buttigieg has a phenomenal fundraising machine and a great team of people on the ground. He has built an incredible political machine. Pete Buttigieg is an evildoer. He is a liar. He is trapped in perversion. He's got blood on his hands from babies. But give the devil his due. He's got a great political ground game. Joe Biden is salivating looking at Pete Buttigieg's machine. Because Buttigieg built his machine outside of the Democrat Party apparatus. Buttigieg's machine is made up of young, idealistic voters. Now think with me for a minute. Buttigieg, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, Buttigieg has not one time gone after Biden. Not one time. I don't know, now I could be wrong. I don't know of one ill syllable he has ever said about Joe Biden. Not one. I think that Buttigieg is running for vice president. And I believe if there was ever a situation in which people would vote from the bottom of the ticket up, it's with Buttigieg. Now, let me explain. When someone runs for president, they pick a vice presidential candidate, obviously. And if you look back in your mind's eye to candidates for the last 20 years, can you tell me of the losing candidates who were the vice presidential nominees? Most people can't. Now, a lot of people would remember Sarah Palin with Senator McCain. There was an instance when the bottom of the ticket inspired people. They were like, yeah, I love this woman. But do you remember who Hillary Clinton's running mate was? You remember who Romney's running mate was? So Buttigieg has inspired all these young people. He's got an incredible fundraising machine, and he has the fire and the vibrancy of youth both in his person and in his staff and in his volunteers, which is exactly what Joe Biden doesn't have and exactly what Joe Biden needs. So Biden will be looking, if Biden can pull off getting the nomination, he's going to be looking at Buttigieg because of what Buttigieg brings to the table. Fundraising, ground game, young people, enthusiasm. And then they can put the two of them together and talk about bridging generations or the knowledge of the past, the vision for the future. I mean, the two of them together, they can have some great script writing why this is the team to take down President Trump and to take America into the future. So tonight, look for Biden to just look presidential and look for Buttigieg to look vice presidential and not go after Biden. Buttigieg will go after Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Watch him. It'll be on content unless they go after him personally, then he'll return fire. But he will go after them. He won't go after Biden. I'll be right back. Don't go away. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Mohammed and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, "I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life." Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700 or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. The power of one conversation. I've looked back over my life at key moments in my ministry, key moments when I was in desperate straits. And oftentimes it wasn't a sermon that I heard, wasn't a TV commercial that I saw, wasn't a movie. It was a conversation. It was one-on-one, me and one other person who said something that triggered my imagination or met a need or gave me a line of thinking that was kind of sitting right there in front of me the whole time and I never really thought about it. And then I went forward and did something. Most of us do not have the ability to have a commercial on national television, okay, where you're influencing millions of people. But all of us, with the exception of a couple of people who are shut in or have lost their ability to speak, but all of us have the capacity to have a conversation. The content of this program, the fight for America's soul, the need, the demand from heaven to end the killing of children, the defense of marriage. Look at the key battles that are happening in this country, the threat of Islamic terrorism. These are topics that you know the truth. You know the truth about these topics. And you might be able to have a conversation. You might not be able to have a TV commercial, but you can have a conversation. And you never know what that conversation is going to do. Because when I look back over my life, there were conversations that I had. that set me down a path where I was able to influence many people. You might be the person who has a conversation with somebody that sets wheels in motion to change the course of history. So don't underestimate what you can do. Be bold and have those conversations for truth. God bless you.